Hello, brothers. Welcome back to Real Men, Real Minds. Today we are going to address a topic that may make you think: the signs of a weak man. We are not talking about physical strength, but mental and emotional strength, which truly defines who you are. Imagine that guy at a party, always bragging about how tough he is, his conquests, or his money. Is he really strong, or is he hiding something? True strength does not need to scream. It shows in character, resilience, and authenticity. Today we'll explore 6 signs that indicate a man might be struggling with his inner strength. It is not to point fingers, but to reflect and grow. A surprising fact: a 2008 study found that men who feel their masculinity is precarious, something they must constantly prove, are more likely to engage in aggressive behaviors to assert it. Precarious manhood. This is not force, it is insecurity. We're going to break down these 6 signs and how you can work on them to become a stronger man. Sign 1. He tries too hard to prove his masculinity. The first sign is trying too hard to prove your masculinity. You know this guy. He always boasts of his strength, his conquests, or his dominance over others. But strong men don't need to remind the world that they are men. His presence speaks for itself. Psychology calls this precarious masculinity. A 2008 study by Vandello et al. Found that men often see their masculinity as something to be earned and can be easily lost, leading them to aggressive or exaggerated behaviors to assert it. Precarious manhood. For example, imagine a friend who is always talking about how much he lifts in the gym or how many women he has conquered. At first, it seems safe, but you soon realize that it is looking for validation. A strong man does not need to prove anything. Their confidence is silent. As the saying goes, a lion doesn't need to roar to prove it's a lion. Real strength comes from authenticity, not from the need to impress. If you find yourself seeking approval from others, it could be a sign that you need to work on your internal security. Have you ever met someone who always brags about their masculinity? What makes you think it's unsafe? Share in the comments. Sign 2. Lacks integrity. The second sign is a lack of integrity. Integrity is not just being honest. It's doing the right thing, even when it's hard or no one is looking. A weak man gives in under pressure. He breaks promises, avoids responsibility, and says what sounds good without backing it up with actions. This not only damages their credibility, but also their well-being. A 2023 study found that people who prioritize integrity report greater life satisfaction and self-esteem compared to those focused on external goals such as integrity and well-being. Integrity builds trust, essential for strong relationships and personal growth. Without it, strength is an illusion. For example, think of a colleague who promises to finish a project but always has excuses, or a friend who says they'll be there for you but disappear when you need them. These people may seem strong on the surface, but they lack the character that defines a true man. When was the last time you kept a difficult promise? How did it make you feel? Signal 3. He has no opinions of his own. The third sign is not having one's own opinions. This is the man who always agrees with the loudest person in the room, who never takes a stand or expresses an honest thought. It is not diplomatic. He is afraid of conflict or rejection. Psychology explains this through conformity. In Ash's experiments, participants followed the group even when they knew it was wrong, just to fit in. Ash conformity experiments. This desire for acceptance can lead a man to lose his authenticity and the respect of others. A strong man expresses his opinions, even if they are unpopular. Assertiveness, communicating your needs and beliefs respectfully, is key to mental health. One study found that assertive people have higher self-esteem and better relationships. Assertiveness and mental health. Imagine a friend who changes their mind depending on who they're with. One day he supports one idea, the next the opposite. Would you trust him? Probably not. Strength comes from having a voice of your own. Have you ever avoided expressing your opinion to avoid conflicts? How did you feel afterwards? Sign 4. He has a fragile ego. The fourth sign is a fragile ego. This man sees every disagreement as a personal attack and every criticism as a threat. Cannot handle constructive feedback. Their pride is easily wounded. Instead of growing, he defends, denies, or blames others. Psychology distinguishes between secure and fragile self-esteem. People with fragile self-esteem react defensively to ego threats, which can lead to anxiety or depression. Fragile self-esteem. In contrast, those with secure self-esteem accept criticism and use it to improve. For example, think of a boss who doesn't tolerate suggestions because he sees them as a challenge to his authority, or a friend who explodes when you question their decisions. These behaviors do not show strength but insecurity. A 2012 study found that people with fragile self-esteem tend to suppress negative thoughts after criticism, which can increase their stress. Fragile self-esteem. Have you seen how a fragile ego affects relationships? Share your experience in the comments. Sign 5. Addicted to cheap pleasures. The fifth sign is the addiction to cheap pleasures. This man pursues immediate gratification, junk food, social media, pornography, constant entertainment. Imagine a friend who is always on their phone, scrolling through social media instead of being present in a conversation, or someone who turns to junk food whenever they feel stressed. These habits reflect a lack of self-control. The ability to delay gratification is a marker of strength. The famous marshmallow test showed that children who could wait for a higher reward had better outcomes in life, such as better grades and less substance abuse. Marshmallow test. A strong man can say no to impulses for the greater good. As Seneca said, "He who gives himself is not free. Freedom comes from discipline." What immediate pleasures do you find difficult to resist? How could you work on delaying gratification? Sign 6. You can't regulate your emotions. The last sign is the inability to regulate emotions. This man explodes with rage, shuts down when overwhelmed, or blames others for his problems. It is reactive, not responsive. Emotional regulation is key to mental health and relationships. A 2023 study found that people with better emotional regulation skills have a lower risk of mental disorders and greater resilience. Emotion regulation and mental health. For example, imagine a friend who gets angry over a minor criticism at work, ruining the mood for everyone, or someone who withdraws when faced with a problem, leaving others to deal with the consequences. A strong man manages his emotions wisely, using techniques such as cognitive reappraisal or mindfulness, emotion regulation techniques. Men who don't regulate their emotions are more prone to relationship conflicts and mental health issues. Emotional regulation is a pillar of strength. How do you manage your strong emotions? Have you ever overreacted and then regretted it? There you have it, the 6 signs of a weak man. But here's the good news. Recognizing these signs is the first step to change. Strength is not something you are born with. It is built with effort, self-awareness, and commitment. If you see these traits in yourself, don't be discouraged. You can work on your integrity, find your voice, strengthen your self-esteem, practice self-control, and learn to manage your emotions. I want to know your opinion. Which of these signs do you think is the most common among men today? Share your experiences in the comments, like, and subscribe to Real Men, Real Minds for more content on mental health and personal growth. See you in the next video.